Great call to join us in the trenches today because we have defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo with us. And honestly, Coach is a little shell-shocked. I mean, there have been a bunch of explosives going off around him, man. No question about it. His defensive football team, they've given up too many big plays. I mean, that's the common thread on that side of the football for sure. And it doesn't happen in practice, but it doesn't carry over to the game. So still working through that. And we talk about a lot of other things with respect to the Kansas City Chiefs game, the upcoming game with the Cleveland Browns, and his personnel in the back end, in the secondary, the youth there. Lou Anarumo's got an answer to everything because this guy has got a high football IQ as anybody that I know. You're going to enjoy Lou Anarumo. Appreciate you joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, we're coming to you from the outstanding studios, and we've got a guest that is playing hurt today, man. We really appreciate it. Defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo fighting the flu bug, but I'll tell you, this guy, he's a man of his word, and nothing's going to stop defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. Coach, appreciate your time. You're the best.
Lap, this bunch of our coaches, it's going around a little bit, but it's going around everywhere. But it's not the best, but oh well.
We appreciate you. Appreciate you carving time for us as you always have. You've been very generous, and I want to thank you for what you've done for us all year long, Coach. It's been phenomenal, and the response has been phenomenal as well. So, obviously. Something that has been a pain in the neck or worse places for you all season long. The explosives, the big plays reared their ugly head again in last week's football game. Take us through your take on those.
It's at midway through the year, and things become a trend, and certainly when we were midway through the year, and then again now towards at the end. It just hasn't gone away, and certainly something we've been talking to the players about constantly and staying on top of. But unfortunately, they seem to pop up one too many a game, and happened again this past Sunday. And some things that in order to play good winning football, those things can't happen. We hadn't been used to it around here, but this year it became a trend, and it'll be something that. Hopefully we'll rectify this Sunday, and then going forward, it will be fixed.
A lot of players in the locker room were kind of feeling like, man, we really let Coach down because the 67-yard, whatever it was, play is one of our simpler concepts, and we blew that. We blew one of the simpler things, and we just can't do that. We can't do that to Coach, and so, I mean, it's not like the players don't give a damn. It's not like they're not it's not like they've spit the bit, as the old saying goes. I mean, it means a lot to them. They're just, for whatever reason, like you mentioned earlier this week, they have it down in practice, but it doesn't translate into the game all the time.
Yeah, and some of that can be attributed to, I think, to some youth. But at the end of the day, that can't be an excuse. And, it's the NFL. We put that helmet on, and we can't go out there and have error. That's something we pride ourselves on, and we've got to we got to face it, we got to own it, we got to make sure that it doesn't happen again. But yeah, we've got a great locker room, we've got great players. It's not about anybody trying to throw anybody under the bus or any of that nonsense. It's just everybody taking accountability and making sure that the issues get fixed.
I know you're a big believer in communication. In your mind, there's no such thing as over communication, and in some instances, it seems like that's lacking on the back end with some of the younger guys. And in your system, it's like top down communication is very, very important. And every once in a while, I see linebackers turning, and I'm thinking, are they not hearing or not getting what's going on in the back end? And that can be a disruptive thing, can it?
I just think, it starts at every level, and then the linebackers communicating to the front, and then the DBs communicating to the linebackers, and making sure that it's echoed throughout. It should be generally easier for us when we're on the road because the crowd is quiet. when the home team's offense is out there.
Right.
It's a little bit more challenging when we're home in a good way because our fans are terrific and they make it as loud as can be on Sundays, and we love it. But no, again, no excuse. We've got to make sure that if you don't have communication, then we don't stand a chance. And that's something that is an ongoing process, and we'll continue to harp on it and make sure that that these guys get it down.
60 plays, say, in that range or whatever, and then 6 of them determine, the outcome of the game because they were the big ones, the big explosives. How frustrating does that get?
Well, it's hard because, you look at the stats, and I think they had 130 yards rushing, but half of their rushing yards, over half, 72
Right.
yards, came on 2 plays.
Right.
So, the other 20 some odd carries were where we want to be.
Yep.
But again, that has been us this year. It's not a one-time thing, and it's just a breakdown here or there. And when you're playing in the division we play in, when you're playing the teams that we consistently play in December, when games are important, you can't make error. You can't make error like that ever. Some of these things may show up in September where you can fix them, but certainly not in November and December, and certainly January football. You can't get to where you want to go if you're doing these things.
Okay, so let's I guess the one positive that continues to crop up is the bend but don't break. You guys are the new definition of bend but don't break. I mean, they scored on 7 possessions, but 6 of them were field goals. I mean, it's like not going to let you in the end zone. You scored 1 touchdown. That's it. No more. And 12 possessions now in the red zone, teams have gotten no points. That's still best in the National Football League. There's something to be said for that.
Well, I think it's the resolve of the players. Even on the 67-yarder, you give up that, most teams are going to fold. They ran the ball twice, then we got them in 3rd down, and we stopped them.
Yep.
They ran a similar play that they had scored on, and we made an adjustment and were able to again force a field goal. Trust me, we're not trying to give up yards between the 20s. That's not the goal.
Right.
But we know that when they do get down there, we've sustained that. We can make plays down there and again force them to kick, and that's what's important, especially against that team.
So let's talk about the last opportunity for the Cincinnati Bengals. Cleveland Browns come to town. Obviously, a chance to get in the W column in the division. You can finish with a winning record. That'd be 3 years in a row to have a winning record. That's not easy to do in the National Football League. There are a lot of reasons to play, and the guys, like you said, in this locker room, guys don't need a lot of reasons. I mean, guys are going to go out and play for you, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's not just about the coach, myself, the coaches. It's about them wanting to play for each other. And I think that one of our goals this week was, it's not about anybody else. It's about us and how we approach this. There's a lot of pride at stake. Our standards here are different now. Some teams, you're going for a winning record. That's great. We want a winning record. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But
right.
Certainly we had higher goals as the season started and what our standards have been.
Yep.
But we want to come out of this thing with 9 wins and move into next year on a positive note.
Like when you say don't care what anybody else does, the Cleveland Browns, from a personnel standpoint, it could look a lot different, obviously, than it did in the opener. I mean, there could be playing their 5th quarterback, which is mind-boggling, Jeff Driscoll. And you've seen, he was a former Bengal. You've seen him. He's been around for a while, but he hasn't played, recently. And Cleveland's going to run their stuff. I guess there's no question about that. It's just a matter of lining up and applying your rules and principles and techniques, right?
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's about us and playing good, sound defense and do a good job running to the ball, tackling, and doing the things that we need to do to win and be effective. It's unfortunately the script is flipped where we went up there 2 years ago,
right?
And we were locked into our seed, and they were kind of out of it, and similar deal. So we've been on both sides of this now, unfortunately.
What when you think of Kevin Stefanski as a play caller, what's his biggest strength, Coach?
Well, I think he does a really good job of mixing, in the run game with the nakeds and the boots, and they're a really, really good screen team. So you put that all together. He does a good job of keeping teams off balance. He is very balanced in how he approaches his play calling. There's not real strong tendencies one way or the other. So overall, Kevin does a great job and is a terrific play caller and head coach.
You mentioned about the locker room and the players playing for each other, and Jamar Chase playing at about, he said 70%, with that right shoulder injury. T. Higgins comes back in the football game after straining the hamstring in the second half. Sam Hubbard's been sucking it up for a while for you. I mean, God love that kid, man. Yeah. He is a man's man, no question about that. And there are other guys that have done that type of thing. That to me is very, very important, because I've been in locker rooms where guys tap out, and nobody even thinks about tapping out in this locker room.
No, and again, I think you're all of that stuff, all your team chemistry and your cohesiveness and all the things we talk about, the culture of the building, it's never tested when things are going well. It's right. Tested when there's challenging times, and these are the most challenging, where you're out of it, and we were in it until the last week, and again, there's no that's not what the goal was, trust me, going into this thing this year, but it is what it is at this point. So we just want to come out and play strong on Sunday. Our fans are great. They've been great in how they support us. We want to go out and do what's right for this team, for this organization, and for this city.
I guess your expertise, and Coach, and this is final, I guess, exchange here, because I know you're in it's a work day for you, time crunch, and you're under the weather the whole 9 yards. For you to even do this, again, is greatly appreciated. So I know you're young in that back end, and this was a growing experience for these guys. But man, every one of them seems to be made of the right stuff, Coach. And it's like, I've been there from year one to year two. All of a sudden you start looking at what you did wrong in the off season. It's like, damn, I was such a dummy. What the hell? And you come back with a much different, you work hard to improve on the things. You work hard to improve your body. The future's tremendously bright, I guess, in a nutshell, right?
No, I think so. Yeah. I think that, unfortunately you're going to grow with these young players, and sometimes there's growing pains that go along with that. So, we all have got to realize how that does go. But yeah, I see nothing but great things ahead, and all of these good and bad snaps that we've occurred this year can be used as learning lessons going forward during the spring and the OTAs and training camp next year and all that stuff. So I would say that we'll be better for it as we move forward.
And in my mind, it's like, the long pass again, Cam Taylor-Britt's playing outside technique. He's expecting safety help, and Dax makes a mistake. But, man, to watch him bust his tail to run the guy down and give your defense a chance, like you talked about, to at least don't make it 7, make a 4-point tackle there. He did that. He did that big time.
Yeah, he better.
So. I think that's what he was thinking, Coach.
Yeah. That's part of it. But yeah, we rallied, and as I mentioned before, we were able to get the stop and force the kick there, which unfortunately they did get all the way down there. But you can't make any error versus Mr. Mahomes, and certainly if you do something like that, then he's going to take advantage. He doesn't miss the layups, as they say.
Coach, I again can't thank you enough for what you've done all season long. Your football mind, your football IQ is as high as there is in the game of football, and you're a hell of a good man to boot. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Lap. Thanks very much.
Have a great one, sir.
You too. Bye-bye.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.